In 2024, there are now 26 colleges and universities that cost more than $90,000 a year, with most students at four-year institutions now requiring about 6 years to graduate. The total cost to graduate at these schools easily tops $500,000, with the cost of some bachelor's degrees now costing more than the average American home. It's fair to ask the question, is college still worth it? Hi, I'm Drew, your certified college financial consultant and certified financial planning professional. To celebrate College Savings Month, we're kicking off our series on the common rumors, beliefs, and myths around college finances. In this video, I'll discuss general perception around changes to the cost of college, analyze the trends based on recent research, and discuss what changes impacted tuition inflation along the way. Stick around and I'll show you how to find your real cost of college. Now, before we begin, drop a comment down below. When and where did you go to college? And do you remember how much tuition and fees were? If you didn't go to college, what were the primary reasons for you not attending? I started Texas A&M in 2004, the year the state of Texas began to allow governing bodies of public universities to set their own tuition rates. My tuition was about $5,000 my freshman year. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the average starting salary for a college graduate in 1984 was $33,000. In 2023, the average starting salary was about $56,000. That's an increase of 68%. In the same period, the annual cost of attendance tripled. The rapid inflation of college costs has resulted in some parents and students questioning the value of a college education. Even families who still see the value of an education now wonder if what was once part of the American dream is now too expensive to achieve. Fact or myth? The cost of college tuition continues to skyrocket. Over the last 40 years, the average cost of college has gone up from $8,650 for an in-state public school and $19,580 for a private college in 1984 to $27,000 for public school and almost $59,000 for private school. Those numbers are what they are. There is no denying that college has gotten more expensive since the boomer generation graduated. But that is only part of the story. When you adjust the data for standard inflation and break things out by decades, the picture starts to look a little bit more encouraging. Now, 90s and the early 2000s were rough for college tuition. From 1993 to 2003, tuition for private and public schools rose by 35% and 44% respectively. Then between 2003 and 2013, the cost of private schools went up by 26%, and the inflation rate for public schools was an even worse 51%. Ouch. Now, before we look at what's happened over the last 10 years, let's talk about some of the important elements that have caused this rapid inflation. There are three primary factors in the steep rise in college tuition. First, there's been a dramatic decrease in state and local funding for universities. Second, colleges are expected to provide more student support than ever before. And lastly, on a societal level, we are our own worst enemy. In fact, we suck at making the college buying decision. The federal government pumps out student loans without making sure that the degrees they pay for will allow the students to make the payments, much less actually get a return on their investment. The major college ranking systems that so many families rely on to inform their college buying decision do not take the cost of attendance or the improved lifetime income for holding a degree into consideration when putting out their best schools lists. To learn more on this, check out our video on how Americans are shopping for college and how you can do it better. Now, the real shocker here is what has happened to tuition in the decade since 2013. In the last 10 years, inflation-adjusted tuition rates at private schools has only gone up by 5%. And at public universities, it's actually gone down by 4%. But even that doesn't tell the real story. Looking at the last decade as a whole, it would appear tuition rates have plateaued. But instead, the inflation continued for several years, until we reached a peak inflation-adjusted cost in 2020. And then we have seen a steady decline every year since then. With the rise of online learning and the rapid implementation due to the pandemic in 2020, the age of significant college inflation came to a screeching halt. Additionally, we have seen a recent increase in higher ed funding by state and local governments. In 2023, state funding rose by 3.7% above inflation, and current public funding is 6.7% higher than it was in 2008. About $1.7 billion of the state higher ed funding came from post COVID era federal stimulus package. However, while those funds are going away, states have been stepping in to fill that gap. It's encouraging to see tuition rates stabilize, at least for the moment. If enrollment rates decline, though, we could see some schools struggle with cash flow and be forced to raise their rates again. And we will have to wait and see if tuition continues to stabilize or if this was simply a temporary pause. Or maybe we could see a complete paradigm shift in education as technologies like AI come in. Regardless which way things go, keep in mind tuition and fees are only part of the cost of college. To get an estimate of your cost of attendance and out of pocket costs at any given college, check out their net price calculator. Every school is now required to have one, and you should be able to find it either on their financial aid portal or using Google. I hope you found this useful. In our next video, we will talk about what the real cost of attendance numbers mean for individual families.